You might know her from here or here, or from her own podcast called Wow. Ghalia Chaker is one of those in the cohort of rising Arab musical talent that you could aptly describe as a changemaker. She was born to Syrian parents in the UAE, raised in the inland oasis of Al Ain, known for its rich agriculture. Ghalia has since moved to Dubai, where she watched the city rise and risen with it. Welcome to Tarab, a new podcast from the National in Abu Dhabi that explores the Middle East dynamic and evolving music scene through interviews with some of the region's most compelling artists. I'm your host, Saeed Saeed, and in this episode, I'm speaking to Ghalia about how she got here and what's next. Ghalia opens up about her journey from open mic nights to singing with a label on her own terms without compromising her sound, her story, or her identity. Ghalia, so great to see you here.
Hi, Saeed.
It's a real pleasure to interview you because
Thank
I
you.
remember first coming across you about 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago. I heard about this young singer-songwriter from...
We actually spoke on the phone.
Yeah, on the phone is like...
First song dropped.
Someone said, I heard of this singer-songwriter from Al Ain.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Al Ain? He's like, first of all, okay, well, let's have this conversation right now. So that already drew me in. Of course, hearing your music, and I just, again, it was like, what I liked about it, especially it has that old world craft. It's great singer-songwriting. It's not just about sonics. It's a real craftsmanship to what you do. Mm-hmm. And I remember chatting to you on the phone, and how old were you then? You were what?
I think I was 19 when I dropped that first song.
That's right. Just for the audience, it was called...
Why?
Why?
It was an English song.
Oh, I want you back. No matter how desperate
I was like, this could be straight away dropped in Grey's Anatomy.
Oh.
It had that ethereal vibe.
Yeah.
And just to kind of seeing you just kind of grow. So since then, you released 4 EPs, but you basically compiled them together and into a Best of Ghalia compilation.
You're right, yeah.
You know, and right now you're working on your new album, your debut album coming out soon. It has been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
So let's begin with talking about the newest stuff. Inta Lama is your latest track.
Yeah.
That came out not long ago.
Yeah.
شلت المشاعر من خيالي أجلت فكرة إني أحب.
Tell us a little bit about that song and in a way just paint us like a bit of a picture about how this song kind of reflects your creative journey since the first time I spoke to you in Al Ain.
Wow, it's been a long time, Saeed. I think with all this growth that happened, my personality obviously also grows, and you outgrow a lot of stuff too, and then you start wanting to experiment and try different things, and that's what I actually discovered about my craft is that I get really bored if I just stick to one genre and to one single instrument, and I just create for a whole album. I love experimenting. I love getting to know different parts of myself. I love meeting different artists and getting introduced to different cultures as well. The way I landed on this genre for this particular song, Inta Lama, it's pretty, it's like indie rock vibes. It's not the typical ballad that I would release and I would put out for people that really just love listening to Ghalia, Ghalia's romantic stories. It's a big shift for me. It's a whole new discovery. It's a whole rebrand of me as an artist, of my identity as well. And it's also this comfort it's this authenticity that I'm striving for. This year, I promised myself I would share all my talents. I would share all my love for all the genres that I'm interested in, like country music, for instance. I grew up listening to country, and I didn't think a lot of people needed to know this about me. I just thought maybe I should just make commercial pop music because that's what's running, that's what's working, that's what radio music sounds like. But then at one point I'm like, you know what? People love you for who you are, so might as well show them all parts of Ghalia and introduce them to what I really listen to in my car and the things that I would like to create.
You were born in Damascus, but moved to the UAE as a baby. to our garden city at home.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit, about that, about those early years, and about life in Al and how that, in a way, that vibe, that atmosphere? Because I love Al I find Al
Yeah.
whenever I go there,
Early.
my blood pressure goes down.
See?
And I feel a sense of peace. I
Of
feel calm,
course.
and I can see that,
Yeah.
really being a really inspiring place. So just tell us a bit about those years and how Al Ain shaped you as a
Of course.
person and as an artist.
I love talking about this city so much. I love my hometown so much because it's not only the most comfortable, most calming place in the entire world for me, but I also go there sometimes just to get inspired. If I have like a what do they call those?
Writer's block?
Writer's block. If I have those moments and if I was struggling with something like a project, literally I just drive back and I sit there and I figure it out. I sort it out. Dubai can be really busy sometimes. It can be really overwhelming for someone who grew up in Al Ain. So much green, not a lot of people. It's just a very small community, same places, same food, same routine every day. So it kind of just calms you down.
And in terms of you're born in Damascus and then came as a baby.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So my dad has been here since the 70s. He moved here when he was 18. So when I was born in Damascus, we instantly moved back. And I did school there. I did half of my college years in Al Ain, and then I moved to Abu Dhabi to finish my studies, bachelor studies. And then I moved to Dubai about 4 years ago just to connect more with people, try to be in the hub, try to meet creatives, try to kickstart my career. I visited all labels that were in Dubai at the time, and there wasn't a bunch, I can tell you that. And it was a very hopeless situation for me because I was like, am I even in the right place? Do I need to go somewhere? Do I need to fly somewhere to do this? Or should I just stick to mass communication, the bachelor's I graduated with?
Do you think also as well, like in terms of just trying to find that hunt for a record label or just to be seen by the industry, do you think a lot of that as well comes from just people didn't know how to position you?
Yeah.
Because you're playing your music, I view your music as singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
So that alone is interesting. It's not, it's most commercial. It's not pop, but you do everything. And also at the same time, even your image is a very natural image. You have the hijab. It's not even then, particularly then, at that time, they're not used to that.
Yeah.
Did you kind of find, how challenging was that? And was it also a bit frustrating for you in that sense?
Listen, it wasn't really challenging from that aspect. In fact, I actually got a lot of support from DCT, if that makes sense.
That's the Department of Culture and Tourism Abu Dhabi?
Yes, and the one in Dubai as well. I actually did a couple gigs, a couple open mics in different cities of the UAE. That was amazing for me because I was pushed, I was supported, and I was actually motivated, and I was encouraged to do a lot more than all the open mics that I was doing. No, this was not challenging for me here. What was an obstacle, what was really a challenge for me, social media, because I didn't think I was going to get this much backlash and negative feedback on social media.
What was the initial backlash? What was it based on? Was it the music or was it your image? Social media is a jungle.
Of course.
So in terms of that, what were they talking about?
I think it was just an overwhelming image. I think I was something very fresh and super new to them. The music was easy to relate to. It resonated with everybody. But as soon as they started putting a face to the song, I think this was a shock for them. And I understand that. I mean, now we do. We see a lot of hijabis. This whole image, me, has become very familiar on social media. But then, I don't think it was very common.
Also, you had an acoustic guitar. I mean, it's like
country vibe.
It was like Halal Carol King.
100%. I love that.
But that could have been an interesting turning point. That could have been a turning point where you could say, you know what, I'm done with this. I put some music out there. I'm not going to be involved in this. What made you stick around and kind of push through that initial?
The people here, honestly, the culture, the people here, the support that I got. Because at one point I'm like, okay, if the labels aren't opening up for such thing, I mean, if they're not believing in whatever I was creating, but then at the same time, it was like God was testing me because I was getting rejected by those labels because they didn't think there was any potential. But then the culture, the people here were actually supporting me to continue, to move on, to keep going. Even though, mind you, not a lot of people were actually interested in this English music, in English genre that I was working on at the time, which was indie pop or country. I made this shift to Arabic music because I realized a lot of people here wanted to listen to Arabic music.
تتذكر لما كنا أصحاب
It's interesting that you mentioned that. I know now I kind of feel, I've been chatting to a lot of indie Arab artists, right? And what they're saying is that there's definitely a wave that is happening now where audiences want to hear Arabic lyricism.
Exactly.
They want to hear their stories told in their language. And while the music can be as modern, or it doesn't have to be Oriental or Arabic, but they want to hear their stories told. So they're saying, a lot of these artists that I'm speaking to, they're saying, it's fresh. We're encouraged now to sing in our mother tongue. Did you kind of sense that? And that's what made you kind of pivot towards Arabic lyricism?
I did, because I was personalizing it. I grew up listening to English music, right? But then as a listener, I also wanted to listen to music that resonated with me in my language, in the style that I like, in pop or hip-hop even. I mean, look at the industry. There's a lot of cool hip-hop Arab artists right now, and they're booming. They're doing great because they're literally speaking to the people.
Let's go back to Al Ain, right? Because tell us, how did you get the music bug, so to speak? Because you were growing up in Al Ain at that time.
Yeah.
It wasn't like there's a lot of examples, that would kind of perhaps trigger someone to say, I want to get into music. So how did that trigger come within that particular environment?
I won't lie to you. There was no examples growing up, but I was a nerd. I'd spent so much time on the laptop. I built a studio at home. I consumed a lot of information. I studied a lot. I watched a lot of videos. I signed up for a lot of courses. I even signed up with Timbaland for a music production 101. I did Charlie Puth. I did Christina Aguilera for vocals. Like, I consumed a bunch.
Which shows that you're a product of your time in a way.
Yeah.
It kind of shows you now, perhaps with technology, you can be anywhere, but the information is there.
Exactly.
But in terms of even before that, just getting into music, was it inspired through your parents' music collection, and how was those early conversations with your parents?
I love those conversations.
Who thought, okay, mom, dad, I want music. Music is a thing now for me.
They've always been supportive. I even call them, like, before releasing a song, I'm like, hey, like, I'm going to send you new stuff. Let me know what you think. Listen to it in the car. Listen to it on the phone. Let me know if the mix is okay. Like, we get really technical sometimes. My dad is a big fan of Arabic music, Oriental music.
So your
hardcore.
first exposure to music was through your dad's collection, in a sense?
Specifically Kulthum. Like, he plays Kulthum's music every night before we go to sleep for some reason. He's obsessed with her. Mom is very much into world music. She grew up she went to a French school, so she's really into French world music. She loves all those legend bands, Rolling Stones, Beatles, and all those boys. And she loves it when I make an English tune. She loves hearing that. She's okay with Arabic music, but she loves that more.
Did it begin with the guitar for you, or was it keyboards?
It was the piano that was just sitting there in the corner, and I just started dabbling with different stuff. Like, Dad would bring drums, violin. He once brought a saxophone.
He collects them?
He loves collecting instruments.
That's amazing.
These were my toys, literally.
Do you think he secretly just put it there just to kind of just say, I'm going to just put it there and hopefully that you'd kind of be drawn to them?
I think he always knew. I mean, the way I would just sit for hours on that piano, like, he always knew. Mom would kind of like pretend that she wasn't looking because she didn't want me to have a career in music. She'd rather I continued in mass communication. I was a journalist or even a psychologist, whatever. Like, I was into that stuff too. But again, she's just a typical Arab mom who really didn't believe that anyone could have a career in music or art because of the place she grew up in or the society she grew up in, basically.
Let's then talk about this idea of career. And I find that the way that you've done it is an ideal example, perhaps. There's many examples out there, but the way that you conducted your career could be an ideal example for those who wanted who perhaps to get into the career. So there's clearly an entrepreneurial spirit to how you built your career, right?
Yeah.
Not just singing, you're a producer, you're a composer, you're a performer.
Yeah.
You release things on YouTube first.
Yeah.
You build your career very organically. And then after amassing this big body of work, then the labels came to you.
Yeah.
And then you signed the deal with Empire. So in that sense, is that for you, was that always the plan? And do you feel now that you've kind of reached that place? Is that the way that you recommend perhaps other artists do it?
Of course. Look, I don't think there's right or wrong in this. I personally think the more you know, the better you'll understand what you want. Because if you go in feeling hungry and lost and just so excited, I think there's going to be a bunch of outcomes. But if you go in feeling that you are knowledgeable enough, that you know exactly what you want, if you go in wanting to network, wanting to meet people, and wanting to learn, humbling yourself to learn, no matter how big you get, no matter how much of an expert that you think you've become, I think there's always room to learn more, and there's always room to explore more. There's always opportunities coming in and going out.
Yeah, but the thing is, your career, I feel, is that you took control of it in a sense that,
Yeah, you're right.
in a sense, because a lot of the time there's this idea of I'm going to do just enough to be noticed
Right.
by a major record label,
You're right,
and
yeah.
then I'll build my career with them.
Correct.
What you did was you built your
The
sound.
other way around.
So
Yeah.
by the time a label came to you, you're
Well-rounded,
well-defined.
yeah.
You're well-rounded. You're sonically defined.
Right.
So in a way, so when the label comes, all they have to do is basically facilitate
100%.
opportunities for you while leaving the creative control for you. I think that's a
Well
really
said.
interesting way of, because that gives you agency
It does.
and it gives the artists motivation to keep doing.
And security too, because you're safe, you're grounded. Because here's the thing, Saeed, when you're signed to something like that, you're gonna be exposed to so many opinions every single day. It's a huge team. Everybody has something to say. Everybody has an opinion. If you go in with absolutely no idea of what your identity is and absolutely no idea of how the industry works, you're going to get screwed because you're going to start making impressions about things that you probably have learned from someone. That they're not your own. It's not your opinion. It's not your own impression. It's somebody else's that you've made your own. And that sucks. I think if you make your own mind about things, like you said, if you identify yourself sonically and musically and even the way you dress up, even the way you wear your makeup or your perfume or whatever, your favorite color, man. Those little details seriously matter.
I was going to ask you, from all these meetings that you've had, what has been the most absurd suggestion that perhaps someone suggested to you in terms of your career? Without naming names, of course, but what has been some of the most out there suggestions that came from these meetings with these big teams who wanted to work with you?
Oh my God, don't get me started. There's a bunch of stuff that I get exposed to, man. And I'm so glad I've come this far, because if this whole thing happened to me 4 or 5 years ago, I would have definitely been, I don't know, depressed or something, because...
Were they asking of you certain things, like not in terms of image, fashion, were they telling you to change certain things? What are some of those, for example?
Sometimes it could be like just the way how you wear, I don't know, your hijab, or like sometimes how I should maybe cover up my tattoos, or maybe I should show more skin, or maybe I should... It's always this, how about you do this? How about you try that? And again, if I was younger, if I was less experienced, I would have probably said yes, because it's this despair that you go in and you're hungry and you're like, I'll do anything you want. Tell me what to do. But I'm so glad, I'm so grateful. I didn't have to go through this.
Which I guess shows that in an industry, entertainment or music industry, it's just as important to say no as yes.
And you know what? It's so freaking tempting to say yes. It is so tempting to say yes. They know exactly what to say and what to do to make you say yes. And we both can see that happen. I know a lot of artists that I grew up here with, we went to the same open mics, and they share a lot of stories with me. They're guys. I mean, I'd understand if it's a girl, the typical situation would be, oh, maybe you should wear that, show a bit more skin, in a music video, that would look sexier, or whatever the word is. But for a guy, it would be like, oh, go dye your hair, or maybe you start wearing more rings, or maybe, what if he doesn't like to wear rings? They really try to shape you in a way where it doesn't necessarily have to align with you or your morals or your values.
Talking about your music and just one of the things that people who love your music, they talk about is the intimacy.
ضايع قلبي من بعدك ضايع.
And the lyrics are poetic, but it's also conversational at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. Okay, let's begin with this. What's the song for you really felt like a creative breakthrough? In terms of, this song's going to open up a lot of creative avenues for me.
I think one of those songs, it's called Ela Kubes. It's a jazzy Arabic song. It's pure Western music, I would say, but it's Arabic lyrics, and the instruments are all like Western, and there's nothing Oriental about it, except for the dynamic of how I was singing and the delivery.
انت ما بعرف من وين وبلش هالقلب يدق ويكتب.
I think this was the stepping stone, because this is where I decided to show the world the kind of music that I like and the kind of music that I want to write. Not the music that the labels are asking for or a manager was asking for. This is the kind of stuff that I make. This is the kind of stuff that I listen to. I'm not going to create something that I don't like, because I know if I create a product that would maybe hit, we call that a hit and run. If I create a hit and run for you, that would maybe, I don't know, create chaos or do really well in terms of numbers, I would be really happy. But then from the inside, I'd be really sad, because I would know deep down that I'm not going to be honest. Like, just zero sense of integrity. Like, I'm literally selling you something I don't believe in. Imagine, like, me selling you a shampoo that I know would create, I don't know, dandruff, but looks good, is packaged well, or whatever.
But I totally understand that. But in terms of sometimes the music that I feel that a lot of your first wave of fans got into was that contemplative, almost like very stark, very minimal type of music and very emotive lyrics. What's the song, in your opinion, that really hit with your readership, with your listenership in terms of how they made them feel? Like, what song people tell you, oh, this one made me feel this way. This is my song.
I think this is the one. That's the one I was talking about.
Oh, wow.
It really...
So by you expanding your sound, actually, you create a more resonant...
Yes, because I was being honest with it. I was like, hey, guys, this is how I feel at the moment. This is what I created. I don't go to the other route where they go, oh, hey, man, we need a happy song for the wedding season this summer. Ghalia, you have to... I don't do that. The Empire tries to do that with me, but I'm like, guys, I don't operate like this. I can't function like this. I'm not a robot.
Yeah.
If that's what I feel, I'm going to create this. Right now, I'm feeling sad. There's a breakup happening. We talk about a breakup. We can't anticipate whatever feelings that are going to come up.
One of the songs that perhaps, a powerful song that perhaps talk about just impulse and feeling was Raja'in. This is a song, it's a massive ensemble, like more than
It's like an anthem.
Yeah, more than a dozen artists. A lot of them indie artists, by the way, from MENA, came together to write a song and released during the height of the ongoing Israel-Gaza war, and it was in solidarity with the Palestinian cause. That's a very powerful track. And I remember covering that, writing about that, because that's one of the earliest songs that was released about that. Yeah. And everybody was young. Again, I think that was the point, is showing how this conflict affects the youth across the Arab world.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that, because that came together pretty fast.
Oof,
God. How did you get involved, and how was the logistics of that?
Saeed, that was the fastest project I've ever worked on. We got a call from a music producer called Nasser, and I was in Dubai, and he goes, Ghalia, can you be in Amman in 48 hours? I'm like, yeah, what for? He goes, we have to create this song for Palestine. I was like, okay, I'm in. What are the logistics? What time is my flight? Whatever. And I was like, do you want me to bring anything? Like an instrument? Whatever. What are we singing? What are we doing? He's like, don't worry about the song. We have a part written for you. Just be here in the studio this time, whatever. And we actually all met in the studio in Amman on this very late night. And we started recording, each one of us. It was like, I think we were like 25. And each one would go in the studio, record their part, and we're just listening, giving ideas. And we seriously crafted this whole thing in 2 days, literally. We filmed for almost like 26 hours, and it was like a huge warehouse, and we were all sitting and eating and sleeping in the same place because we just wanted to finish the song and put it out.
From those open mic nights to being part of Raja'in, because you would have seen a lot of artists from the Arab world who perhaps started off similar journeys in their respective countries.
Yeah.
So how good was that, or how important was that? Because to meet these artists, these young and upcoming artists, was that also inspiring as well? And did it kind of give you a bit of a glimpse of, I guess, the variety and the depth of the Arabic indie music scene?
I've always wanted to meet those artists. We've always been in contact on Instagram anyway.
Tell us a little bit, so just for the listeners, what are some of the examples of some of the names that were involved in the project?
There's Fuad from Libya. There's a bunch. There's Amir Eid from Egypt. Akhras from Jordan. There was a lot of people.
It's a wide variety.
Yeah. And we all came together, and we were all feeling the same thing. And there was just this dark black cloud over our heads. Like, it was literally the same. It was like we were all feeling the same pain all at once. So we really performed our best and we gave it our all. And we left feeling so proud of the project, even though it was so draining, so exhausting, because everything was happening so fast all at once. There was like 100 to 200 people, crew on grounds. It was amazing. It was a great project and we're all proud of it. It was nice to meet them all finally, because we're all in the same industry, right? We're all like into the same music. We all create the same thing. We're all friends online, we're on social media. We all support each other, and I love that. And it's different ages. It's different age groups, really. It's different generations as well.
And I guess finally, I'm just thinking about how you came to be where you are right now.
Yeah.
Your career has also been shaped by having those early opportunities,
Yeah.
such as open mic nights, showcases. Now, there's a lot of artists who I speak to says we need more opportunities like that, particularly, we're just talking about the UAE.
Yeah.
How there needs to be more of these platforms,
Yeah.
more open mic nights, more showcases, perhaps more festivals showcasing up-and-coming artists,
Of course.
more opportunities for supporting artist slots. Do you sympathize with that view? And
course.
how important is that opportunities to be done in order for us to find the next Ghalia, perhaps?
Of course. I think it's a great thing that the UAE is actually opening more opportunities for us to be able to attend those artists that we listen to. Like, for instance, like Ed Sheeran was here, right, a couple of days ago. And all these bands that we grew up listening to. It's nice to finally have those festivals up and running. And I think this is the perfect window for local artists to go and perform. You guys just have to really give them a chance to do it. They're really good. There's really good talent to your side. I still go to these open mics, by the way, because I still have a lot of friends who still perform, and I still enjoy the feeling of just chilling and getting surprised, like Kinder Surprise element, where someone's going to come up who does not seem like who doesn't seem like an artist, but then blows your mind with some poem or something. It's lovely. It's amazing. And this is how you discover talent. And you know what? I think it's the label's responsibility to do that. Aren't you guys the talent agencies? Aren't you guys the talent finders or whatever? Go find talents. They're there. They're literally working so hard. They just want a spot to do it. Maybe also we can start the whole concept of busking. Maybe that would work. Just food for thought.
Certainly work for Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, see?
And look at where he is now.
There you go.
And this is where we hope you'll be, and even more. Ghalia, it's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure really seeing you just evolve over the years. And
Thank
I know,
you, Saeed, for being part of the journey.
It's been a great ride. And I know that we're not even anywhere near the destination.
Oh,
so
yes.
I look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That's all for this episode of Tarab. Thanks for listening, and be sure to check in next week to hear from our next featured artist. Yasmin Al-Taji is our producer, Dua Farid is our editor, Arthur Edison is our audio engineer, and I've been your host, Saeed Saeed.